efficient way to learn game development is to make games. Watch the video where I talked about how I'm learning game development in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes! So I made 10 games to help me understand how making games is working. What? You didn't watch the video? I was reading Godot engine documentation to learn more about Godot. Godot engine documentation is really good for you if you are learning Godot as a beginner. When I was reading, I saw your first 2D game and I said, that is so good. So in this video, I will follow the steps to make your first 2D game and share the journey of making it. Before we start, hit the like button and share your ideas in the comment section. I really want to hear them. First thing I did is I read it all to get an idea about the game we will make. Then what? Start making the game. Creating a new project, which is your first 2D game. In the docs page, they will give you an assets to download for the game. And yeah, that's what I did. Then setting up the ratio of the window to be vertical with the width 480 and the height 720. So now everything in place. I just have to start make the game. That's what I did. Starting with the player scene, which they wrote of it an area 2D to detect if the player hit the enemy, which we will make later. And there were a lot of errors. I mean a lot. Because the syntax of the code. We will talk about that later. I add an animated sprite as a child and making 2 animations for the player, which are walk and up. This is the first time I used animated sprite in Godot. I see it good. Then adding the images that they give you in the assets for the player movement. What? What is this? After that, what do we have to do? Just tell. Adding collision shape 2D. Man, you are really good. I'm really proud of you, man. But sometimes you really make me thinking. Back to the video. Add a capsule shape to the collision shape 2D. Yeah, that's it for the scene. Adding some lines of code to the player. But before that, setting the input map, which are move right, move left, move up, and move down. The player will use the arrow keys to move. And now moving to the script. In the docs page, they use the process method instead of physics process because the root node is area 2D, making the movement system and play the animation if the player is moving. That looks shitty. Adding the hit signal, which also the first time I made a signal in the script. We're making progress and control the animation, which means if the player moves in the x-axis, the walk animation will play, and the same as for the y-axis, but this time the up animation will play, and the reverse it if it is the player in the negative direction. And another lines they will tell you to add to make the player not moves away from the screen. They use the clamp function, which I don't know nothing about it. I'll take a look about it later. Until now, everything seems okay and working. The problem will come when I add some lines of code to the entered body signal. The errors started. I told you we will talk about the syntax. Now it's time. In the documentation, the version of Godot they used is Godot 4, and some of syntax is different compared to Godot 3.3.4 stable mono, which I am using. And I was thinking that me who makes the error. There were a lot of errors. Then after a lot of research, I found the syntax is different. And man, this took a lot of time. So creating the enemy scene, which contains the same nodes in the player scene, but one additional node, which is visibility notifier 2D, then adding the script for it. Again, the same fucking problem. The visibility notifier 2D is used to make the enemy disappear if it existed the screen using the signal. Now, finally we will contain all the scenes in the main scene. In the main scene, I instance the player and the enemy and adding 3 timers. Mob timer for the enemy, score timer, and start timer to wait until the player is ready, and adding a start position and the path for the enemies. You know, the same problems. But in the end, the result is totally worth it. Look at this! Man, this is so nice! The enemies playing different animations. Yeah, that's the game. Wait, what? There is one additional scene which I never used in any game, which is the UI scene. Yes, I never used the UI scene in any game. This is the first time. So creating a new scene and yeah, adding the nodes. I skipped this part because just Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and in the end I added into the main scene, and now I can tell that the game is ready to play. Let's test it. Okay, let's click start. Get ready. That's good. Look. Yeah. That's really nice game. Game over. Okay. Clicking start, get ready. It's easy game, but you have to focus. Just focus. The path in the real game is different from this. I don't know why. In some enemies is faster. Okay. It's really simple and easy to play. Oh my god, game over. This video is a little hard to do because I analyzed the code clearly and I learned that you have to keep going. Keep going, guys, and as always. Until then, keep it simple.